Governor Malloy, Mayor Bronin, Council President Thames, Jay Williams of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, and all our supporters and fans, welcome. And thank you for being here today to celebrate another milestone in the revitalization of Dillon Stadium. I'm Bruce Mandel, one of the owners of Hartford Athletic, Connecticut's new professional soccer team. Our inaugural season is going to happen right here at Dillon Stadium starting next spring. Everyone here today and many others have been working for years to make this a reality. This is a true public-private partnership with so many working hand in hand to bring an important community asset back to life. From day one, my partners, Joe Calafiore and Scott Schooley, guys, you want to stand up for 1 second? I don't know, I don't get that kind of round of applause, guys. Share a common vision. A vision that will contribute to the economic and cultural momentum in this great city by bringing a professional soccer team to Hartford. Hartford Athletic will be joining the United Soccer League, one of the most exciting and fastest growing leagues in the world. With the installation of our state-of-the-art synthetic turf field, how beautiful does that look, right? The first of its kind in the United States, an organic field. This vision is one step closer to becoming reality. The new field will be ideal to maximize community use while being fit for pro soccer, football, and other sports. I can't wait, and I'm sure many people here can't wait, for the annual Thanksgiving Day football game to be played right here next year. Woo! To restore this great community asset required a strong working relationship between the mayor's team, the governor's team, and the CRDA team led by Mike Freemuth. Coach Nielsen's right here. If we have this type of teamwork on the field, no doubt we will be champions. On top of that, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving stepped up with an unprecedented contribution through the newly created Impact Greater Hartford initiative. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Most of all, we are excited about what this revitalized stadium will mean for the residents, businesses, community groups, and key stakeholders in the Coatesville neighborhood, Greater Hartford, and the state of Connecticut. Already, there's a daily buzz from soccer fans and potential partners. One fan recently donated 100 season tickets, that's season tickets, to the youth in our community. This is the spirit behind this project, the spirit that will make this project one of our community's great success stories. On behalf of Hartford Athletic, we want to thank Governor Malloy, Mayor Bronin, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, the CRDA, the City Council, State Senator John Fonfera, Representative Julio Concepcion, and everyone else who has played a role in getting us this far. Thank you so much. Connecticut is a soccer state, and now we have our soccer team, Hartford Athletic. With that, I'd like to introduce Jay Williams from the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. Jay? Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Good afternoon to the governor, to the mayor, to the council president, to the partners in HSG, and everyone who has gathered here today. I can't tell you how excited we are to be a part of this. Years from now, when the history and the stories are being shared and told about the renaissance of the city of Hartford and the greater Hartford region, it won't be about one particular event or one aha moment. It will be because a series of decisions, a series of events transpired that ultimately led to the renaissance of a great community. There's no doubt in my mind that this event, what we are doing and celebrating here, will be one of those things that were a part of that renaissance. And not just because it's about a project, but because it's about people. People who have come together, who have put capital at risk, people who have collaborated in ways that have continued to move this project forward. And I can tell you that we're excited to be a part of this specifically because of those people. Because as we look around the neighborhood, this is a project that is bringing capital and resource and bringing back to life a historic asset in the city of Hartford. But it's also a project that will be welcoming to the people in this neighborhood and neighborhoods across the city and neighborhoods across the greater Hartford region. That's what really attracted us to this. The fact that we now have an asset with a field that will be accessible to residents, to neighborhoods, for sporting events, for cultural events, for neighborhood events, and the fact that we had a group of individuals who are willing to commit themselves to that. That's exactly what we as a foundation want to do, to continue to bring people together, to lift up those voices, to ensure that this isn't one of those projects that happens somewhere else where people find themselves on the outside looking in, but they find themselves not only enjoying professional soccer in Hartford, but on those community days they enjoy finding themselves and their families using this field. So to that end, congratulations. We're excited about the future and look forward to really continuing to be a partner in all that goes on into bringing vibrancy and investment to the greater Hartford community. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jay. That was fantastic. And now I'd like to introduce Mayor Bronin.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to ask everybody to give another round of applause for Bruce, for Joe, for Scott, for the team behind Hartford Sports Group and Hartford Athletic. I hope you can appreciate and imagine how much persistence and commitment and personal investment and dedication each of them has had to this. This would not happen without their commitment. Jay just said some of it, but I want to say this is part of a much bigger story. And let's just start with Coltsville first. Right behind you, the old, derelict, historic Colt Armory that has now been brought to life through the vision of the state, Governor Malloy's team, CRDA, Larry Dooley, so many people coming together to reimagine that historic building. Commercial, residential. You go now on a night to the Hooker Brewery tasting room and you see people coming after work, you see people coming down from their apartments, a neighborhood that's coming back alive. Across the street here at Colt Park, that historic legacy from Elizabeth Colt that is now a center of community athletics and community use, where on any given Saturday or Sunday you see hundreds and thousands of people coming out and playing softball, playing soccer, playing football, youth leagues, adult leagues. One of the most well-used parks in the city, for sure, I think probably in the state. And a park that is getting additional investment, once again, through a partnership between federal, state, local investment, Hartford Foundation, and private support as well. And then this piece, this stadium that housed the Rolling Stones and the Beach Boys and the Turkey Day football game and was a community asset for so long in so many ways, but was falling further and further in disrepair. Despite false starts and attempts in the past to get it done, there was previously not the ability and no clear path to being able to preserve and reimagine this facility. But you bring together the partners that have been talked about, starting first of all with the state and Governor Malloy, who recognizes the importance and the power of strong and vibrant cities in our state. I'm going to introduce him in a minute, so I'm going to say some more. But starting with the state and that recognition, going on to the team and the private individuals who are willing to be part of it, the foundation, which is playing an unprecedented role. Don't underestimate, underappreciate the significance of what they've done here. The foundation is now partnering with the city, with state, with private stakeholders, not just to say, well, how can we help get something done, but how can we help get something done and make sure that it serves the community in which it sits. That's what their investment is about. You see this turf field behind you. Most USL teams don't play on a turf field. In fact, our team had to go and work directly with the league to work through the specifications of that field so that it was possible. But the reason we have a turf field is so that we can maximize the community use, so that we don't have to say this field is off limits to the youth soccer team or to the Hartford Public Schools football team because there's a game 2 days from now and we don't want the field to get torn up. That's what the foundation stepped up to make possible, and we cannot thank them enough, because this really is a community asset that is also the home to a professional sports team. Finally, let me just say the City Council and I, we've been lockstep on this from the beginning because this has such obvious potential to continue the revitalization of Coltsville and to put a bookend on the city. When you think about the yard goats on the other side of downtown and this right here, the amount of people and energy and families that have come back, that have rediscovered their own city or rediscovered their capital city, that's a significant thing. And so I'm so grateful to Council President Gwendolyn Thames, to all the City Council members who are here who worked through that. I also want to give a shout out to Kylie Goslin, who recently left us to continue her work on fair housing and opportunity, but she's been serving as our interim development director for many months this year, and she spent a lot of time helping to make this deal to come together. So to Kylie and the team there. And of course to CRDA. We always mention CRDA. I know that some people here get it, but I don't know if everybody understands that CRDA is the single most effective economic development tool that this city has seen in decades. That's in part because of the vision of Governor Malloy's administration in saying we need an organization that's focused on economic development and leveraging private capital. It's also because of the extraordinary talent and capacity of Mike Freemuth. And so if Mike is here, and I hope he is, I see him back there, Mike deserves a huge round of applause. It's not just this project that wouldn't get done without him. There's not much that would get done without Mike's help. I've gone on for much too long, but you can tell how excited I am about this project and about what this is part of in our city. And so now it's my privilege to introduce my partner in city government, our City Council President, Gwendolyn Thames.
To flip my fashionable scarf. It's awesome. But welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Before I start, I just want to make sure I acknowledge my council colleagues who are here with me today. My majority leader, Councilman Shantes, who is here in the audience, Councilman TJ Clark, and Councilman Larry Deutsch, as well as, thank you so much. As well as our two senators, Senator McCrory and John Fonfero, whose district we are in. Thank you so much for your leadership and all that you do for the city in making this happen for us, as well as State Representative Julio Concepcion, who we're in his district as well. So thank you. Thank you to the governor. Thank you to CRDA and Hartford Sports Group for your visionary leadership, as well as the Hartford Foundation, because as the mayor stated, this neighborhood has gone through significant transformation. I think, we are always focused on the here and now and the short-term wins, but we have to recognize when we're transforming communities, when we're transforming our city, we have to be a patient investor. And so what that means is that we have to be persistent, we have to be resilient, and this project today represents another one of those building blocks of all of the transformations that have been happening around us through Dutch Point, Coltsville Historic Designation, Hooker Brewery, Cafe London, which is this cool cafe on the corner over there, and all the many other Capewell apartment buildings. Like, this is truly becoming a neighborhood where you live, work, and play and recreate. And we are so excited to have this in our community and be able to continue to double down and triple down on our investments because, again, again, it's about that resiliency and that persistence, and that's really what this represents for a city like Hartford, for us to be able to reinvent ourselves and reinvest in our community, and that is the celebration today. So thank you so much for all that, everybody being here and all of our partners in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. And I want to just echo her thanks to our legislative delegation, which has been tireless in fighting on behalf of this city. Senator McCrory, Senator Fonfara, Representative Concepcion. I also want to acknowledge Matt Ritter, our majority leader from the city of Hartford, who's works side by side with our tremendous delegation to fight for the city every day. And I was remiss also, and reminded by Glenn's comments, to just acknowledge Congressman John Larson, because Congressman John Larson fought and was successful in a fight that I think few others could have won to get this area designated as a National Historic Park. And that catalyzes so much of the other activity that's happening here. With that, I mentioned earlier how fortunate we've been to have a governor who gets the importance of strong cities. As mayor, I feel so lucky to have had a partner in the governor's office who recognize that if we want to grow this state, if we want to attract those great companies like Infosys, if we want to create jobs here, if we want to create an environment where startups are coming here, where young people are choosing Hartford over Boston or New York, or Hartford over Des Moines or Austin or Pittsburgh, we have to have a city that is alive with activity, arts, culture, that has the housing opportunities, and that has sports teams like this. And so, Governor, deeply grateful for your work. I can't thank you enough, and I'm thrilled that we have the chance to say thank you as you come down to the last 2 months, get a chance to publicly thank you, not just for this, but for all you've done to help with the revitalization of this great city.
I want to thank the mayor for giving my speech. What am I supposed to do? But because he said some of it doesn't mean I won't. So listen, this is one of a series of extremely important days in Connecticut and in Hartford's most recent history. Connecticut has learned a very difficult lesson over a long period of time, and only recently has come to a conclusion about changing that direction. But like many other states, by the way, but particularly here in Connecticut, we turned our back on our urban environments, on our cities. We did that for a series of reasons, a lot of having to do with how we invested the few dollars we did invest in transportation, how we made it easier to get out of a city rather than to live in a city. We allowed institutions to fail in our cities, including, in many cases, a diminution of value of an education in a public school setting. And now, over the last number of years, Connecticut has learned that if you properly support an urban environment, it can and will come back. It will attract jobs. People, in fact, want to live there. They can make the whole of the state stronger when we make 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 of those communities much stronger than they have been allowed to be over the last 50 years. That's what the investment in Hartford has been about. That's what the investments that we've made elsewhere in Bridgeport, in New Haven, and elsewhere is all about. People want their state to be successful. They didn't understand that for their state to be successful, their cities had to be successful. As a former mayor, I understood that equation, and I have been proud to make, alongside of everyone around here, investments in the future of Hartford. They are already paying off. We are attracting new companies and new jobs. We are building thousands of units of housing, and it's occupied. Our graduation rates are up in our schools. Those are important investments. And how does this fit in? As has been stated previously, we need to attract those young people to these companies and these jobs that we have. We also owe our population a debt of making sure that they have the kind of experiences in their community that they've stood by for the last 40 years, that they have it in their community here in Hartford. And we are blessed to have great partners in the ownership team in particular, staying with this effort, showing the patience necessary to score this goal has been extremely, extremely important. So on behalf of the state citizenry, to all our friends, our neighbors, and our fellow citizens in Hartford, congratulations for what you have accomplished. Thank you.
Okay, well, that was fantastic. Thank you, everyone, so much. We're going to